Hi guys. I'm actually gonna join you tonight because I've been watching and I get kind of jealous. So, we're gonna start off the same way that we've been starting with some breathing exercises, and then we're gonna move into pelvic tilts, and then we're gonna do some different stuff after that. So if you want to start by just laying down on your backs like we've been doing, this should be familiar to you. So lay on your back and just start to settle in. So when I say settle in, begin to slow down your breath and soften your eyes. Let your toes turn out. Release any tension that you might be holding in your jaw. Release your shoulders away from your ears. And then start to direct your attention to any tension you might be holding. So kind of scan your body. Are you holding any tension in your shoulders? Sometimes we can hold tension in our stomachs, in our legs. And then start to just notice your breath. So are you breathing from your chest? Are you breathing from your belly? And as much as you can, direct your breath into your belly. Think about where you're holding that tension or anxiety or stress. And as you inhale, visualize that. And as you exhale, visualize that tension disappearing. And do that again. You can do the same place. You can move to a different part of your body. And any stress or any anxiety that you're holding, go ahead and release that. Every time you're exhaling, think about that's when you're releasing your tension. So when you're inhaling, that's when you're thinking about where that tension is. And then when you're exhaling, release. Keep doing this on your own. Let's come back to our breath, our natural breath. Everyone take a big inhale through your nose. Exhale out your mouth. One more time, inhale through your nose. Fill up your belly, exhale out your mouth. Bend your knees. Continue to lie on your back. And move into your pelvic tilts. So again, as we inhale, we're creating a little arch in our low back. And then as we exhale, pressing our low back into the mat and thinking about your pelvis and your tailbone tucking under you, tailbone tucking, pelvis moving towards your face. Inhale, pelvis is tilting away from you, creating a small arch in your low back. As you exhale, pressing your low back into the mat, tilting your pelvis towards your face. I would encourage you to move your hands even to your hips, hip bones, so that you can really get a feel for how your pelvis should be moving. So do this a few times, going with your own breath. Inhale, pelvis tilts away from your face. Exhale, pelvis tilts towards your face. When you're doing this and you're moving with your breath, think about when we're working with our breath, guiding that breath into your stomach. Everyone do one more. Then meet me on hands and knees. Go ahead and step your right leg in between your hands, coming into a low lunge. Your left knee still stays planted on the mat. And then come on up. And just take a few breaths here. So really bend deep into that front right knee. Squeeze your left glute, creating more of a hip flexor stretch. Now begin to straighten your front leg, flexing your toes, your right toes towards your face. You can come down to your fingertips on the mat. If you can't get to your fingertips, just hold hands at your hips and fold over as much as you can. Try not to hyperextend your knee. So if you need to bend your knee a little bit, that's also fine. You don't have to have it completely straight. And then flex your toes towards your face. And breathe here. And back into your lunge. Bending deep into your front knee, squeezing your left glute, and then let's alternate. So alternate from straight leg, flexing your toes towards your face, coming back into your lunge. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, come into your lunge. One more. Inhale, straighten your front leg, flex your toes, and exhale, lunge. From here, we're going to go into a quad stretch. Take your left arm, begin to reach it back behind you, and then begin to lift your left toes and grab either your toes, grab your outer arch of your foot, or grab your ankle. If you can't get there like John, he's working on it, then you can always come down into your lunge and just practice reaching back and practice lifting your foot as much as you can up to meet your hand. If it's not there, don't like force it to be there. This is also where you could use a wall. I'm going to show you. John will use the couch here. If you can't get into this, because I know this can be pretty hard for a lot of people, Pretend that the couch is a wall, come up to a wall. And do that. So we're gonna hang out here, taking about 8 to 10 counts. Once you're there, if you're holding your foot, you can kind of play with like putting your foot into your hand. You can practice, yeah, you can do a side bend. So that would look like reaching your right arm up, bringing it over you. You can kind of play around with all those. Squeezing your left glute, that creates more of a hip flexor stretch. Okay, let's come down. Come back to all fours, and then take your left leg in between your hands. Low lunge, right knee down. Come on up, hands at your hips. And bend deep into your front left knee. Again, squeezing your right glutes. Hip flexor stretch in the front. And breathe here. On your inhale, come on up to a straight front leg, flexing your toes towards your face, folding over from your hips, your spine stays long, and then coming down to your fingertips, or if you can't do that, still staying at your hips and then just folding over. You're not focused on keeping that knee like locked in, so make sure that you're bending it enough if you need to. Keep flexing your toes towards your face. Keep breathing. Begin to alternate, so come into your low lunge. Exhale. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Flex your toes towards your face. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And reach back behind you with your right arm, grabbing your back right foot or ankle, or doing what John is doing, where you can come up to a wall, couch, you can use whatever, quad stretch. Continuing to breathe here, you can play with reaching your left arm up, coming into a side bend, flexing your right glutes, kicking your foot into your hand, and breathe.
If you want to feel a little deeper, when we work on, like when we talk about tucking our tail, it's important, like a lot of people, in order to get there, they'll dump their hips forward. But if you can keep your tail tucked underneath you, right, like what we did with those pelvic tilts at the very beginning, where you're pressing your low back into the ground, you'll feel it even more in your quad. And you also notice you can squeeze your glutes a little bit better that way.
Last couple breaths. Good, go ahead and release. And meet me in standing. So we're gonna do those standing hip, like strengthening internal, external rotation we've done before. So start with just standing 2 feet together. Inhale, lift your right knee up to 90. Then go ahead and start to turn your knee in, kicking your foot out, and then begin to rotate, leg coming in, knee coming out. So creating internal rotation, and external rotation. One thing I also want you to focus on is not dumping your hips off to the side. So make sure it's like you have something stuck into your left side that's keeping you up straight as you're doing this. So you're just creating movement in your right hip. Okay. Leg down, switch to the other side. Inhale, lift your left knee up to 90, and then go ahead and start internally rotating. Try not to prevent dumping your right side, rooting through, and externally rotating. Kind of move with your breath. Go ahead and go slow. Good. Okay, come back down. And then the last thing we're gonna do is figure 4 standing. So again, lifting your right foot into 90, crossing your right ankle over your left knee, and then go ahead and take a seat. Hands can come to your hips, hands can come into prayer, or they can also come up straight for even more of a balance challenge. Don't forget to breathe, sink lower. The more you press your ankle into your knee, the more outer hip flexor stretch or outer hip stretch you're gonna get. Good, come on up. And go ahead and shake your leg out. And then switch. Lift your left leg, cross your left ankle over your right knee, and begin to sink down. Act like you're sitting in a chair. Press your left ankle into your right knee. And then try to draw your left knee down towards the ground. Keep breathing. Last couple breaths. Come on up. Okay, that's all I have.